Greetings, folks. True and Proper here, bringing you yet another in my series. And this one I'm hoping is going to be very quick because I occasionally get asked what kind of gun somebody should get for their first gun, or what kind of round is a strong enough round to use. So in answering those questions, I'm going to answer you like a common, average, ordinary guy. I'm not going to try to answer you as a tactical expert because I am not. And I'm not going to try to answer you as one of the 500,000 Navy SEALs on YouTube because I'm not. I am just your average, ordinary guy. I happen to know something about each of these rounds, and I'll tell you what I do know, both from my experience and from what I've heard. Quickly, let's get into it, and here we go. As you can see, the bullets are arranged in order of potency here on the table, weakest to strongest. Some people may disagree about these two, but I'm going with this format right here. 380 A.C.P is the first one, according to the Most in the Gat bullet. 380 A.C.P. That is the weakest bullet on the table. However, as Hickok 45 had once said, that is by no means chicken feed. It is a good enough round to use to defend yourself. Still, you're going to get people that are going to say, no way. I'm going to use a 40 Smith & Wesson or higher to defend myself. No way would I use something like a 380 A.C.P. Now, you got to keep in mind that these are guys that are upset about the size of their Johnsons. 380 A.C.P. is good to use to defend yourself. However, I will qualify that by saying you should use the strongest round that you could handle while still keeping the pistol on target and being able to make sufficient follow-up shots. Use the strongest round you can handle. And if that's 40 Smith & Wesson, so be it. If that's 10 millimeter, which would be over here somewhere, so be it. But if it's 380 automatic only, if all you can control is the 380 automatic, that's a good enough round. Go ahead and do that, right? Now, the 380 automatic is the lightest recoiling bullet here on the table, but the catch to that is that it is fired mostly from very small guns like the Ruger LCP, the Taurus TCP, or the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380, which of course they're very small, so they don't have a lot of mass to handle the energy of this round, thereby making it one of the snappiest bullets on the table. If you're going with one of those very small guns, they're not that fun to shoot. But if you're firing the 380 automatic from a Glock 19 size gun, say for example, or a high point, there's an example, that one's about 25 pounds, the recoil will be very, very light because this is really the lightest recoiling round on the table. 90 grain projectile, right? So I'll tell you just like that. It's good enough round, but if you can go stronger, go ahead and do it. Now, the 38 Special is fired mostly from revolvers, like this here Ruger LCR, which I just reviewed, and I hope you saw it. Most of the guns that fire this round are in groups of 5 from a revolver, like the Ruger LCR, like your Smith & Wesson short snub-nose revolvers will fire the 38 Special, or bigger revolvers can fire the 38 Special, and it's even better to shoot from a heavier gun, of course. But when you fire the 38 Special round from one of those small revolvers, it is quite snappy because it is a potent round. Pretty potent. And especially if you get a plus P round, much more potent. Kind of like a cannon. So this is a good round. It's stronger than this one, but it's weaker than 9mm, which is the most common round. Now let's get on to cost, okay? And then we'll go on to cost and the 9mm round. Now the reason I'm going to tell you cost and the 9mm round is because 9mm is the least expensive bullet on this whole table. And oddly enough, the 380 automatic is the most expensive bullet on this table. Go figure. I have no idea why, because this is a much inferior round to the 9mm. 9mm is the most popular round on this table. It's the most commonly found round on this table. It's 115 grains to about 147 grains, depending on the load. And now I'm still only talking about just target loads, not these hollow points that I have here on the table. I only have these here for size reference. 9mm is the most common, and it is a very, very adequate round for self-defense. Most police forces use 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson in their pistols. So that should tell you something right there. It's trusted by police forces. It is the least expensive round at about anywhere from $11 to $16, $17 for a box of 50 target loads. While over here, the 380 automatic is going to cost about $19 to $26 for a box of 50 standard target loads. And again, this all depends on where you're getting them. 38 specials right around $16, $17 for a box of 50 standard target loads. So 9mm is the most common, it's the least expensive, and that's why it's the most common. And that's why it's the most commonly found round, because most people can handle 9mm. More people handle 9mm recoil and power than any of the other rounds. That's just the way it is. This is the most easy to handle round. And it is also a snappy round, though, if you're going to be firing it in a single stack 9mm pistol or a very much smaller 9mm, say like a Boberg. But if you're going to shoot it through something like a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield or a Walther PPS, it gets a little bit easier to handle. And then, obviously, if you're going to shoot it from a full-size gun like a Sig Sauer P226 or the Smith & Wesson M&P 9mm full-size, it's even much more easier to handle. Not many people have problems with 9mm. It is the most commonly found round. Most people are going to point you in the direction of 9mm if they're going to give you some advice. Now, 40 Smith & Wesson, that is a powerhouse. That is a potent, high-pressure round. And in a lot of cases puts out more energy than the 45 A.C.P. Right? That's what this is. It puts out more energy than the 45 A.C.P., but the 45 A.C.P. hits you with more mass, because this is a 180 grain projectile and this is a 230 grain projectile. So do you want to get hit hard and fast, or do you want to get hit by a full-size freight train? That's the difference between these two. I like the 40 Smith & Wesson, but I'm not going to shoot it in a very small gun. You saw my reviews on the Smith & Wesson SD40VE and the Sig Sauer SP2022 and 40 Smith & Wesson. And I also did a review on the Glock 23 and 40 Smith & Wesson. Shooting it from those guns is sufficient and adequate, but many people still have a hard time with the recoil of the 40 Smith & Wesson. It is a high-pressure round. The powder charge is different than in standard rounds like 9mm and 38 Special. There's something different about the powder charge, and there's something different about the pressure that this bullet puts out. Some people will not use high-pressure rounds just because they're snappy. But for self-defense, it is a very good round. In some cases, however, 40 Smith & Wesson and 9mm get very close. But that also depends on the loading of that particular round and which manufacturer is making it or who is loading it themselves. But as a rule, 40 Smith & Wesson, much more potent. And it kills everything else here, going this way. Now, 45 A.C.P. Remember all those World War II movies you saw with the person carrying a 45 pistol? This is the bullet. This chubby bullet right here. This is a 230 grain bullet. And for a comical comparison, here's the 380 A.C.P. right next door to it. Wow. Now that's a difference, right? 45 A.C.P. is shot commonly from the 1911 pistol. You saw my review on the Ruger SR 1911, my unboxing on the ATI 1911 military, and the Car CW45. They fire this round. And the recoil from the 45 A.C.P. round is less than the 40 Smith & Wesson. That's just how it is. It's the high pressure round here. This thing makes a difference. And the recoil characteristics are different in that this one recoils backwards into your hand. It kind of like pushes back into your hand and is easier to handle, while this one gives you a great amount of muzzle flip. So that just depends on what your wrists can handle. The 40 Smith & Wesson or the 45 A.C.P. both are excellent rounds for self-defense. Now, the things that I just said are not 100% guaranteed rules, because again, it depends on who's making the round and how it's been loaded. But this is it. These are the top 5 rounds that are purchased in the United States. And I did not cover the 357 SIG. I did not cover the 10 millimeter, which are very strong rounds as well. And the 10 millimeter would actually be like way off over here next to 357 Magnum and 44 Magnum. Oh, I'm sorry, let me find 44 Magnum, right? That's the most powerful round now on the table, but those are the most common. So anyway, that's what I got for you. So I hope this information helped you. I'm Too Improper. Thank you for watching. My email address is scrolling across the bottom of the screen as we speak right now. That's tooimproper@gmail.com. Right? And I will answer you provided you are polite about what you have to say and I've got the time. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless America, and keep on protecting yourself and your families. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's always the right thing to do.